Hey, this is going to be an interesting technique. This Lacarte pastel paper is one of the most beautiful papers for doing pastels on that I've ever run across. And I discovered that it's also good for using with oil pastels. So I'm now going to apply these two facts to putting a figure drawing to the test on this paper with the oil pastels. And I'm going to work, I want to talk about the oil pastels as well. These are the Sennelier oil pastels, which are among, really, I'd say there's no comparable product in an oil pastel anywhere in the world. And they're very creamy, they have very rich colors. They come in an enormously rich selection of colors. They also come in smaller sizes, normal crayon size. But I like to work with the grand pastels. And they actually have a few colors, which are the giant colors. I think the black and white come in the giant. And I've actually broken and cut some of these pieces so they're ready to be used on their side so I can use them like a brush. And so I'm going to start with the yellow, and I'm going to try to work very free and abstract. This is going to just try to work with the angles and the flow of the forms. So here we go. As you can see, you get a great deal of contrast working with particularly with the bright yellow against the deep chocolate brown. And as always, I'm trying to exaggerate the angles, exaggerate the mass of the forms, because otherwise it just gets dull if you don't do that. So that's off to a good start, an interesting start. So let's see what happens. I'm going to take a color that's really just about as bright, but it's a different tone, and I'm going to do a second pass where I'm going to observe different aspects. I won't be drawing the same things, I'll be drawing other things. Maybe I'll see some more light. This actually comes out lighter than the yellow. It functions as a highlight, and it's very exciting. And the Lacarte paper has basically a coating on it which is highly abrasive, and that probably is not visible on the camera, but there are pastel papers that are more or less a kind of sandpaper, and this is a different material, but at any rate it feels a little bit like drawing on sandpaper. So now I've got two colors. Now I'm going to work, I'm going darker and darker. But all of these colors come out pretty darn light against the background. Now, I will mention that as I'm using this thick, greasy oil pastel, which flows very nicely even on the sandpaper, I'm twisting and turning it to vary my edges. I'm not just holding it just one angle to the paper. And these oil pastels have a very dramatic appearance against the dark chocolate lacquer paper. So then I'm still going darker. I'm recording mostly contours at this point with a darker crayon. But I'm making a point. I don't want to lose that light, beautiful light turquoise, so I'm going to have to avoid going over that, whatever I do. I cut this big white one so I could get some real highlights, so let's see how that's going to work. Well, I think that's going to work real nice. Another thing, of course, that can be done is go in and smear them together a little bit. But I'm not sure I want to really get into that too much. trying to bring out some of that cylindrical roundness. Get some depth so that it's not just a symbolic figure, but really starts to come alive. But I think that gives the idea, at any rate, of the dramatic qualities you can get with the oil pastel on the Lacarte paper.